something is off. It doesn't start anymore. I'm not sure if I even seized the piston. The situation here is quite concerning. So this is what I found now that I opened it. Yeah, this is worse than what I was hoping for. I'm gonna buy the parts I need. Okay, so it has been some weeks since the last update. As the parts were at the shop to be fixed. Now I'm here at my friend's place, Giovanni, that is helping me out to put the engine back together. I got the parts back. So I've got the cylinder basically new, as this is chrome inside. Chrome coated, I don't know how to say that. And so they can't really just bore a new cylinder like slightly bigger, but I have to redo the coating. Unfortunately, that's more expensive. They worked a little bit on the head here. Of course, it's not perfect, otherwise it would have been too much material taken away, but should do fine. And of course, there's a new conrod with a new bearing, and the crankshaft has been balanced. Giovanni already put together the two sides, new gasket. The gearbox was fine. There was just one of the needle bearing which was to be replaced. So here are all the parts that we have to put back for the engine. And we also have the new ignition. See, this is the old one that I'm not gonna use anymore. The new ignition is much smaller, and well, I hope it's gonna be fine. We have to tune it, mount it, see how it goes. So the goal for today is to put the cylinder on with the right gasket. It needs to be measured how high the cylinder goes, so it leaves enough space between the piston head and the cylinder head. Do all these kind of measurements, mount the new ignition, and see how far we go. Okay, so what we are doing now is to measure the gap between the cylinder, the piston head, and the outside here, the top of the cylinder. And it has to be 0.6 according to the manual. So then we have to put a gasket underneath here of the right thickness to have the right measure. We have a bunch of them over there, and Giovanni is now measuring the right one. So we have put two gaskets, but the gap now is 0.45. It's 0.45, so it's a bit too small, so we have to put a thicker gasket. Okay, so try number 2. The result is that the gap is still too small, so we're gonna use the gasket of 1 millimeter, the thicker one, to be on the safe side. Okay, so we have mounted the cylinder and the cylinder head. Now we are mounting the new ignition. So what we have to do first, using this tool, is to find when the piston is at the highest point, the top dead center. And then, because when this line aligns with the arrow, that's the moment it gives the signal for the spark. And we want the spark when the piston is almost at the top, so 2 millimeters before that. So that's why we align these two in this position and lock it in place. This was a very challenging procedure, as we had to hold the crankshaft still while tightening the bolt for the flywheel. 2 mm of ignition advance is a very small fraction of a rotation, so it is enough to have a little play in the tools and the measurement gets messed up while trying to secure the flywheel. That means having to start everything from scratch again. Okay, so it took some hours and tries, but we managed to set the correct timing. So you see now here it's aligning this on the flywheel with a arrow on the stator when the piston is 2 mm.2 below the top, before the top dead center. Okay, so I'm back. It has been a couple of weeks since the last time, and in the meantime Giovanni has been working on the engine. So what was left to do was to mount the clutch and the gears over here and the exhaust valve. So Giovanni took care of that. Now, well, the engine should be ready. We're gonna mount it on the frame that I have outside and do a first start. So here's the bike without engine. Considering that we have the new ignition, we're gonna have to remove old regulator here. This one is also not needed anymore, and then we can just mount the engine on. Placing the engine in the frame is always a bit of a challenge with this bike, as the main mount bolt has to align with the frame, engine and swing arm at the same time. After some fiddling and playing around with the rear wheel position, we managed to align all the parts and secure the engine to the frame. Okay, so now the engine is in. We're gonna mount the ignition coil and the CDI somewhere. Then radiators, carburetor, clearly. It's raining a little bit. So, radiators mounted, new electric system mounted as well. So what's missing now is the carburetor and the exhaust over there. And then we're gonna try to start it. Questo promettevole. Okay, so doesn't seem to start yet. So it seems to be that fuel doesn't go in from the carburetor, so probably the level adjustment thingy, which happened to me in the past already. Okay, so it seems to be working. It's far from being able to say that it's fine, but we're gonna put the chain on the fuel tank and test it a little bit more, so we can test also the gearbox. so the bike is running actually quite well. We just have two problems: is leaking exhaust oil from the connection here between the cylinder and the exhaust valve, and from the gearbox oil from the connection over here, which is what I experienced in the past already. Okay, so we put some silicone paste all around, also there. Now we let it sit overnight, let it dry, then we're gonna clean it up and put back the exhaust, and that should be it. Ah, by the way, I found an old skid plate, and judging by the packaging, it's original old. It's actually for the 85-86, but maybe we can adapt it. Here we go with day 2. We're gonna have to remove the silicone paste, fix the fork oil leak. Okay, so recap of the situation: we mounted the new skid plate. We had to make some adjustments over here and on the other side, but I'm quite happy with it. It has some protection. Exhaust is on. We removed the excess of the silicone paste. I already put coolant, just missing the side plastics. And what we're gonna do now, that's why you see the front lifted from the ground, is to remove the wheel, slide off the forks, and replace the dust seal and the oil seal underneath. Okay, so we are trying to figure out how to get to the seal, as this part over here is supposed to unscrew, and that might be enough to then slide it off and get the seal. Okay, so we managed to get it out. There is just a little bit of oil leaking. So this is the oil seal, and now we have to check the manual how to get it out. But yeah, this was much easier, è più facile
lo so, di quello che ci pensava.
Much easier than what we thought. Okay, so we're mounting the new oil seal, using the old one to hammer it in. The main thing to do is to slide the new seal in place, secure it to the fork, and apply the dust seal. With that done, Giovanni tries to compress the fork a few times to verify that oil is not leaking. Fork mounted. Now repeat the same for the other one. Alright, so it does run fine. No leaks on the forks, no leaks from down there, but it is still leaking somewhere over there. So we have to figure that out. And I don't know, I still hear some noise, mechanical noise, but I don't know. Okay, so I'm back home, and now I have a couple of hours free. So what I want to do is to do kind of a reliability test. Just ride the bike around on asphalt, nothing stressful for the bike. So do, I don't know, 100 kilometers, something like that, so that the new components, piston, cylinder, con rod, and everything in the engine can get used to each other without stressing it too much. I also want to see how many kilometers I can do on a full tank, because I have no idea. Oh no! Okay, so I did 40 kilometers and it's not too bad. It's actually alright. There are a couple of things that are not convincing me. So one over here, I'm not sure if you see it, but it was leaking gear oil since last time. I tried to put some extra silicone paste on the outside in the hope that I wouldn't have to open this case again, but it looks like it's leaking actually from the top over here. So I'm gonna try to put paste there too, otherwise I have to open it and fix it. Then secondly, it is still making some weird mechanical noise from this area, but I have the feeling it has to do with a clutch. I'm not sure if that's normal or if something is loose. One more thing which is not convincing me is the throttle response. So it seems that at mid RPM it stutters, so it's not picking up revs as it should. So it's like stuck. It feels like it is hitting the rev limiter, but I'm like halfway through the throttle, and if I insist and open it more, then it kinda revs up and actually pushes a lot. So I think there's something off with the carburation there, but also that one I'm not gonna touch it yet. Okay, so day 2 of testing the KTM. The main thing I want to check is whether it is still leaking oil or not. I'm just gonna drive it around, same as last time, on the road, no stress. See how it goes. 20 kilometers in and no oil leaks. It doesn't look nice, but seems to be working. It vibrates so much, I don't feel my hands and my feet anymore. This one is leaking a little bit now. Anyway, I'm gonna continue until I finish the tank. Actually, let's check. I think it's about halfway through. So in total I did about 60 kilometers so far. Oh, I expected worse. I mean, it's super nice that it's running, and that's the longest it has ever been running, but I'm still a bit cautious with celebrations because I need some more testing before I'm confident in saying that it's fine. And now it's day 3 of testing with the oil leaks fixed, for now at least. I'm gonna start adjusting the carburation. So I know it was originally rich already, and now it's even richer that I'm at higher altitudes and the temperature is quite hot. So I'm gonna take it off and check the jets and put them according to the manual for my altitude and temperature. And hopefully it's gonna run a little bit better. Changing the jets of this carburetor is easy enough. They are all located at the bottom of it, and it is enough to remove the throttle cable and rotate the carburetor a little bit to have access to them. As I said before, we originally put it quite rich, so it's an 190 It's 190 for the size of the max jet and 60 for the idle jet, and position 3 from the top for the ring. That's what we had before. According to the manual, for the altitude and temperature I have here, I should be using 185 for the maximum, 52 or even 55 or 52 for the minimum for the idle, and position 1 for this one. That's a big change. I'm gonna take it step by step, so I'm not gonna do that immediately because I don't want to risk seizing the engine or doing any damage. So I'm gonna go halfway in between with the measurements and eventually change it again. Here we go. So it's day 4 of testing. Well, actually day 3.5, because last time I adjusted the carburation, but I didn't even start it. So I'm gonna do that now. Go for a round, see if it goes better than before, and then continue from there. The bike goes actually quite better than how it used to be before the carburation change. It is way smoother in the power delivery, and in first and second gear it even lifts the front wheel just by opening the throttle, so that's a good sign. I think it could be a little bit less rich, the carburation still, but I don't want to risk it by making it too lean and then overheating or damaging the cylinder. So I think I'm gonna keep it like this now. I'm gonna change the gearbox oil because I did about 100 kilometers and... Okay, so fresh gearbox oil is in. Now what's left to do is to do a proper test at the motocross track, so I can test all the other things of the bike, suspension, and just get a feeling that, you know, it doesn't fall apart. And when everything goes fine there, then in about 2 weeks from now I will be leaving for the last race of the championship, and hopefully I will go with a KTM. Okay, so today is a key day, as I'm gonna go to the motocross track and do a final test of the bike. But before I go there this afternoon, I want to mount the navigation instruments over here. This will go on the handlebar. This will hold the road book, and this is the back plate protection. I want to mount it already, as it's quite common that these sort of things give problems, in the sense that you mount it on the handlebar and then with vibrations and bumps and whatnot off-road, they get loose, and then you have the whole instrument jumping around in the middle of the race. That's quite a bummer, so I want to verify that this also works fine. Fitting the navigation instruments to the bike took much longer than expected. The different parts needed some adjustments to mount together, and overall it required a lot of trial and error to make sure the components would not interfere with each other or with the bike. So there's the roadbook holder. Over here inside is the navigation, the power box. So it's protected from branches and whatever could come up from the front. I also found out that the handlebar is slightly bent because these two are not aligning properly. What I'm gonna do next is so now everything is very loose, so I have to find the right position of everything. The key over there has to be accessible. Then I'm gonna put thread lock so it doesn't move around, and close everything up. And it's ready. So for now, well, it's quite solid. Now I'm gonna put the bike on the trailer, load all the gear I need, and go for a test. Crossed fingers. One lap done. I'm so out of shape. And it's so weird to drive this one. And this is it. The bike is doing alright. I am wrecked, like I'm exhausted. But yeah, I think there's a good chance I'm gonna make it to the race. No big problems. That's that's surprising. I am the one breaking down now. It's the day after the test. Anyway, I'm very happy with how it went yesterday. It was consistent throughout the test. No leaks, no oil leaks, no water leaks. So I'm confident it's gonna be alright. The the driving part, it's quite challenging. So suspensions are terrible. They're super soft. Kinda uncontrolled. It really bounces everywhere, but that's okay. And also the engine and the power delivery, it's challenging, but also something I have to get used to, as well as the controls with the foot. So the gear change and the foot brake are challenging, especially with the boots, because I don't really get a feeling of where they are and how much I'm pushing. So I found that a little bit challenging. Anyway, what I have to do now is I have to mount the control here for the trip master and the road book that will go on the handlebar. I have to put the wheel sensor and the magnet on the front brake, then engine guard over here. Yeah, also I have to find a solution. Wait, I was saying I have to find a solution for this problem over here. About 2 weeks to the race, but I'm gonna leave early because I have another thing to do the weekend before. So basically 1 week away from the departure date. I have to fix everything now and get the bike ready. And it's done. So I've mounted the magnet over here, which passes by the sensor over there, like that. And the cable goes up all the way. It's connected over here to the trip master. We have the control of the trip master. So over here, when I press this one, increases and decreases. And this one is the control of the road book. And yeah, at the moment it is temporarily powered by this battery over here. Later on I will have to connect it to the battery in the airbox, but I will do that tomorrow. So yeah, overall I'm quite happy getting there. Okay, so the bike is basically ready. I mounted the skid plate over here, routed the power cable going all the way to the battery inside the airbox, and I'm charging the battery now. Then I'm gonna put the plastic on. Well, that's it for the bike, and since I'm gonna be leaving in a couple of days, I'm preparing everything I will need at the race. So I've got a box with parts, spare parts that I might need, air filter, spark plugs, carburetor jets, and all this sort of stuff, oil and fluids. And then I'm preparing, of course I'm gonna take my toolbox and the other one, but I'm preparing the tools that I will bring with me, on me during the race, because I'm far away from the paddock. So I'm gonna bring the basics so that if small things happen, like even just breaking the lever, I can somehow get back to the paddock and fix it later on, but at least manage to get back. So yeah, it's happening. Can't wait. I'm quite excited. I'm gonna publish the video about the race as a separate one, and I'm gonna update some, daily shorts on Instagram, so stories and this kind of stuff, so you can follow me there. And let's see, crossed fingers.